Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. Thank you for joining us. Hawaii is under a state of emergency as Hurricane Lane brings torrential rains, dangerous flooding, and high winds. The storm has already dumped a foot of rain on Hawaii's Big Island, and peak winds have reached more than 100 miles an hour. This could be the first hurricane to hit the island since 1992. Mireya Villarreal is in Hilo, Hawaii, with the latest.
The fierce storm that Hawaiians have braced for and long dreaded has arrived.
It's nasty, it's scary.
This is just the beginning. The outer bands of Hurricane Lane are pummeling the Big Island with 1.5 feet of rain.
Flooding is now occurring. We got reports of landslides, road closures.
This Hilo neighborhood became a lake, trapping at least one person before help arrived, and the worst is yet to come.
This system is going to be with us for the next 4 or 5 days to bring winds to the island as well as the torrential rains.
Hawaii's southernmost island is now bearing the brunt of this Cat 4 storm, but the rest of the state, including Honolulu, lies directly in its path. Store shelves have emptied out. Gas is in short supply. Everyone is starting to hunker down.
Everybody's on the panic mode right now.
Hawaii's last direct hit was Hurricane Iniki in 1992. It caused $3 billion in damage. And now Hurricane Lane is striking the Big Island, already reeling from months of devastating lava flows from the Kilauea volcano. For an island that just can't seem to catch a break, those eruptions have died down just as waters start to rise.
The rain is coming in waves here on the Big Island, but the worst is expected tonight and into Friday. That'll add more water to the raging Wailuku River that you see behind me. That translates in Hawaiian to dangerous waters, and the locals tell me they have never seen it like this before. Tanya?
CBS News weather producer David Parkinson is tracking the storm's path. David, wow, you and I talked about this yesterday. A lot of what we discussed seems to be happening. Where is the storm heading right now?
So right now the storm is barely moving. So it's moving at 7 miles an hour, but it's also starting to lose a little bit of strength. Interestingly enough, we've gone 12 hours almost since the last downgrade to 130 miles an hour. I thought for sure that they were going to downgrade it, but somehow it's still hanging on at 130, and it's just lumbering forward. You can still see an eye pretty well defined on the satellite there. It actually looks somewhat healthy, but you can see the outer bands. That's what was feeding all of that rain before, but it's barely moving, and that's the big concern. As we take a look at the path, it's now going to be taking even longer to make its way past the Hawaiian Islands, which means more rain and more potential for negative things to be happening on the island in terms of flooding and trees coming down and things like that. So by 8 a.m. Hawaiian time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, it's just going to be at the northern part of the Big Island. And then 12 hours later, it's just passing Molokai and Lanai. And 8 a.m. Saturday would be when it would be making its closest brush to Oahu. Now, the thing to take note with this is some of the models actually have it sort of forking to the right and then making a hard turn, an acute angle turn almost, if you will, to the left. So that could make things really interesting if it were to do that, because that would bring some of the winds a lot closer.
So what is the big danger here? Is it the rain or the wind or both?
It would be primarily the rain, but the wind is not going to make it be any better because of that much rain. So let me explain what I mean by that. Here are all these bands, and we've been seeing it push on all day long, and that's why you saw that deluge of rain behind Mireya. We saw 1.5 feet of rain in Hilo, but if you get on the other side of the mountains, you're seeing less. Here's the problem. That same area that gets pounded by the rain is also going to be, on some of the other islands, pounded by wind. And so as the root systems of trees start to get really weak because the rain has fully saturated the ground, that's where you're going to be seeing the problem. So look at these sort of rainfall disparities, right? Eastern side of the island, windward side of the island, 1 foot to 1.5 feet of rain, which, I mean, these numbers, it was 1 foot of rain in 12 hours, and these numbers are in less than 24. But as soon as you get on the other side of the mountains, Kona's at 0.14. Kona only gets a couple of inches of rain a year. So if they were to get 2 or 3 inches of rain, that would be totally unheard of pretty much for them. That would be a year's worth of rain.
Would it be catastrophic?
Yeah, potentially it could be, because there's a lot of crops there that are based on an arid situation, and this wouldn't be that. So, but what when we're talking about which is the bigger concern, right? That's a lot of rain. That's going to cause flooding. That's going to cause what you saw in Mireya's live shot, which is all those rivers turning into torrents. But you're also going going to be seeing trees weakened and coming down from that repetitive wind that will lash them for 12 to 24 hours. So it's sort of a 1-2 punch of those two things.
So, David, for how much longer are folks in Hawaii in Hurricane Lane's path in danger?
So for the Big Island, things start to improve later tomorrow. So it's kind of a successive thing, right? So as we head up sort of island by island, as we go to Maui, the islands in Maui will be seeing less rain than the Big Island, but still, when we're talking about 3 feet of rain, that's nuts for the Big Island. Talking about 2 feet of rain for Maui, that's still plenty of rain.
Right.
So Maui gets into the clear probably about Saturday morning, let's go with, and then Oahu gets more into the clear. That's going to be towards Saturday evening, and then we're probably looking at someplace like Kauai getting clear maybe Sunday morning. So it's kind of an island by island thing. But here, as you can see, right now through Friday p.m., this is this is Maui, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, 2 feet of rain. As we go up to Oahu, right, we slide the timeline back by 6 to 12 hours, but we keep the wind impacts similar. So the two places that are going to see the most wind, Maui and Oahu, the two places that are going to see the most rain, Big Island and Maui.
There's no question that the storm will continue to diminish, correct? We're not seeing signs
Correct.
that it's gaining.
Right. If this makes landfall, and that's a big if. Right now it looks less likely that it will make landfall. It would not be as a Category 4 or even a 3 or even a 2. It'll probably make landfall as a 1. That being said, if it were to make landfall on Oahu, they've never had a landfall of a hurricane before.
So that could be pretty scary.
That could be a really serious situation.
All right, David Parkinson, thank you so much for that.